There is no one look to an abuser. I've been in so many conversations with people where people will insinuate, like how abusers tend to be. And I want to be a voice coming out here. I'm inspired by Salem Tovar, by the way, for saying this the other day. Today actually, in her video, TikTok's Wild Men of the Year trend exposes how broken Gen Z are. So I'm halfway through this video, I haven't finished it yet. If you don't follow Salem and you're in the Portland area, Salem is making videos out of Vancouver, so very relevant to our area, very relevant to this moment for young people that are around 20. I recommend her stuff. I like it a lot more. I like it a lot, and I was into her a few years ago, and then we sort of diverged for a minute, and then I've found her content again, and I've been really into it because I've been really appreciating the commentary she's been bringing to social trends right now. So she did a video on skinny talk, and then she did a video on someone else last week, which I hear was pretty controversial, but I haven't watched that one yet. And then today she made one on the Man of the Year trend from TikTok. I'm not a TikToker. I used to be addicted to the internet when I was a teenager, so I try to limit my amount of time online, and I very notably try to only have a few social medias. YouTube owns my life, so I spend a lot of time on this platform. Even when I'm not technically online, I'm online on YouTube. But it's different for me because I'm not socializing with other people. That kind of constant interacting with other people, even if it's only one way, like on TikTok, can be really counterproductive to formulating your own ideas based off of your lived experience. Because we as people, we're social creatures, humans, and we really want to fit in. Even if we like to be odd, I love to stick out, I love to be weird. Some part of us wants to at least be where everyone else is, not necessarily emotionally, not necessarily aesthetically, but we want to be in community, we want to gather together. And when we do that, sometimes we do that just physically, and sometimes we do that conceptually, with our beliefs. And I think something that's happening is this culmination of what an abuser is, a narcissist is an abuser. It's first of all, thinking you can clock a narcissist right away is already problematic, because there's a lot within the profile of a narcissist that is hard to note if you are not actually aware of all of the clinical parts of that. And then even on top of that, the clinical parts of it are valuable, because the entire industry of psychology was created by white people who were at least partly well off, so their ideas are limited to that kind of perspective. And I see this happening with the idea of the abuser. It is a very limited idea of what could be abusive. And I know that we are trying to expand this idea out, but I fear, especially for queer communities, what this hyper, separation of the abuser type TM is gonna do for recognizing behaviors of abuse. So I find that it's unfortunate, especially here in Portland where I'm making this video. I find it's really unfortunate how many low-key toxic behaviors are embedded in relationships, that if someone tries to talk to someone else about, not even in romantic, just even platonic, they'll be really upset, because it'll be really activating. It can be super activating to have someone say, hey, this behavior you're doing is traumatizing to me, or it's abusive to me. But it's important to hear that person out at the very least. And then if it's too activating for you to talk about right away, say, okay, thank you for telling me. I need to process this for a minute, and I'll get back to you and talk to you more about it. And then you should take space from them. Don't just keep trying to hang out normally together. I was in a long-term relationship with someone, and it went from high school into college, and we were best friends before we got together, and then it made things really complicated for us to be together, and we were on again and off again, and we were each other's first queer relationship, and so the whole thing was messy on both sides. And I bring this up because I wouldn't want to categorize either of us as the abuser in that situation, but I do think we both did toxic behaviors that meant we shouldn't have stayed together. Us breaking up, I think, was for the best ultimately. But we had to, like, part of our problem was that we couldn't talk to each other, I think, about the toxic behaviors that we felt. Like, I know at the end of the relationship, we were in two different places emotionally, so obviously we weren't communicating enough. And I'm not saying, hey, you should communicate with every abuser, but I'm saying that we need to be better about identifying abusive behaviors instead of just calling someone who does an abusive behavior an abuser and completely extricating them from our lives and from our communities. Like, we just can't expect anyone to want to be better if it means you have to be alone in order to know what you're doing wrong, you know? Like, I just think there's a lot of space for being in repair and in community at the same time. Something that was really important for me and my ex was that we needed space from each other so we could, like, actually start to heal and repair ourselves and deal with our personal toxicity so as to be able to, hopefully, potentially, I can't speak for my ex, but have more healing and healthy relationships in the future. And space is needed to do that, especially if it's been a long time in repair and that's not going anywhere. Perhaps space is what is needed. This doesn't extend to a lot of the men that have been represented by the Man of the Year trend, though. Just to clarify, since that's something Salem was talking about more broadly in her video. A lot of the content I've seen from that's very, like, viral, that's really gone off, is really super abusive men. And I'm not saying that it's not common for men to be abusive, because I've been abused by men, I've been abused by several men. But I find it really unfortunate that I don't hear more conversation about the other kinds of abusers that are out there. I've been assaulted by men and I've been assaulted by women. I've been assaulted by non-binary people. I've gotten the whole fucking palette, bro. Like, anyone can be an abuser. We have to keep our eyes out. And I hate how often I'm hearing nowadays men and mask-presenting non-binaries try to talk about, like, their rape experiences or their assault experiences, rather. Maybe I should censor that, we'll see. And having people tell them, and I mean this so genuinely, someone I know just, like, this month was told by their friend, hey, actually I don't want to hear about that because men can't be raped. Like, are you kidding me? Anyone can be raped. Anyone can be raped. So we need to be aware of abusive behaviors, and we need to watch them, and we need to be aware that anyone can be an abuser. This isn't to say you need to exist in a state of paranoia, but as queer people, we need to be aware that it's not just the obvious, quote-unquote, abusers that we need to look out for. It's a messy thing, but we have to be self-aware. We can't just act like we know what an abuser looks like right away. And we can't act like we know what's going on with a situation right away. I think we need to be better communicators, and I think we need to be better at sitting in discomfort with each other to try and work out something of community. Sometimes the best way to be in community is to disengage from each other, so you can both exist in a place without causing each other hostility. Sometimes that's not the best choice, though. It's going to be a case-by-case thing. So, if I had one moral to this video, it would be, abusers can look like anything. If your gut feels like you need to run, please listen to your instincts over whatever rational thing you think you need to listen to. I think that feeling of, I'm not safe here, I don't know if this person cares about my well-being, is a life-saving instinct. And with domestic violence rates increasing, and I do think that has to do with all of the brain fog and the cognitive, like, issues that are brought on from long COVID, like, I think those are contributing to this problem. So we're going to see more and more people be less the people we knew them to be. And even if they're not abusers, they might do abusive behaviors because they don't know. They don't notice themselves as much right now. Brain fog makes it harder for you to see yourself. So I'm concerned with our mass disabling event that we've had, that people are going to write off very, very important warning signs. Anyone can be an abuser. Please trust your instincts, and please tell someone if you feel unsafe. It's always better to be like, hey, I actually was just feeling really intensely, and things actually were less intense than that, and everything's okay now. It's a lot better to have that awkward conversation than not have someone know that you're in a situation of precarity and you might need backup. Please line up backup for yourselves, especially if you're planning to leave someone who's unsafe. Narratives might be spun about you that are not true, and it is not your job to correct all of them. It is only your job to ensure your safety without excessive harm done to any other party that you need to get yourself away from. Sometimes it's more important to get away than it is to repair. Sometimes you need to sit in the discomfort and work through repair in order to stay in community. I can't tell you which one you need to do for your situation, but I can remind you that they're both options, and that there are a lot of little things that you need to consider in picking which one to go for. But picking alone is harder. It's a lot easier with a confidant. Stay safe out there. Don't write off your friends' stories when they tell you about things that have happened to them that made them feel really unsafe and really trapped. All we have is each other. That's all I have for today. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.